Did you know the fastest way to make a woman think about you nonstop isn't flowers, isn't compliments, isn't chasing, it's silence? That might sound strange, even unfair, but it's true. When you ignore a woman, not out of cruelty, but out of strength, something fascinating happens in her mind. Her thoughts turn toward you, her emotions sharpen, and often her desire multiplies. Why? Because women, like all humans, are wired to crave what feels rare, valuable, and just slightly out of reach. So today, I want to pull back the curtain on the psychology of ignoring a woman and reveal 8 reasons why this tactic, when used wisely, can drive her absolutely wild. 1. Mystery is magnetic. Attraction thrives on uncertainty. Think about the movies or stories that grip us most. They keep us guessing. The same is true in relationships. When you don't reveal everything, when you don't bombard her with constant messages or endless reassurance, you create an aura of mystery. Mystery is irresistible. She starts wondering, why isn't he chasing me like the others? What makes him so different? What's going on in his mind? That curiosity is powerful. It keeps her thinking about you, even when you're not around. And the more she wonders, the more invested she becomes. 2. Over-attention breeds disrespect. Here's a harsh truth. People often take for granted what comes too easily. Modern men are told to be nice guys, give her everything, spoil her with attention, never say no. And while kindness is valuable, kindness without limits gets devalued fast. When you overinvest in a woman who hasn't earned it, she doesn't respect it. She subconsciously thinks, if he values me this much without reason, maybe he doesn't value himself enough. By pulling back, by ignoring when she crosses lines, you reclaim your self-respect. Suddenly your attention becomes a privilege, not a cheap commodity, and privileges get respected. 3. Rejection flips the script. Nobody likes rejection, but for women, who are often used to being pursued, rejection is especially jarring. When you don't chase, when you ignore, it's like breaking the unspoken script, and that shock can spark obsession. Psychologists call this the scarcity effect. People place more value on what feels limited. When you step back, your silence becomes valuable. She may think, why doesn't he want me? What does he see that I don't? Am I missing out? That fear of missing out can trigger a chase stronger than any compliment ever could. 4. Independence is attractive. Here's another secret. Ignoring isn't about playing games. It's about showing strength. If you can't stop texting her for just one day, what does that reveal? That your entire sense of worth depends on her attention, that you have no bigger mission. But when you're able to pull away, when you're busy with your goals, your passions, your life, you send a loud, silent message. I'm not desperate. I have value beyond you. That independence is rare, and rarity is attractive. 5. Validation feels sweeter when it's earned. Women love validation, but constant validation loses its flavor. Think of it like sugar. Too much, and it stops tasting sweet. But just a little, after a long wait, becomes irresistible. When you ignore her instead of constantly feeding her ego, you create contrast. The silence makes your eventual attention feel like a reward. Suddenly your words carry more weight. She doesn't just want your attention anymore, she craves it. What's rare is valuable. Your attention, your time, your energy, they're currencies. If you hand them out freely, they lose worth. But when you hold them back, when you show you're not always available, their perceived value skyrockets. She starts to realize, this man's attention isn't guaranteed. If I want it, I need to earn it. And that shift makes you infinitely more desirable. Ignoring isn't only about attraction, it's about boundaries. If she disrespects you, and you still reward her with attention, you've taught her that bad behavior has no consequence. But when you pull back, when you show that disrespect shuts the door, that's when she realizes you're not like other men. Boundaries create respect. Respect fuels attraction, and without both, no relationship can thrive. Human beings are wired to rise to challenges. If something is too easy, it's boring. But if it feels just out of reach, it becomes exciting. When you ignore a woman, you create a subtle challenge. If you want me, you'll have to step up. And many women will. They'll flirt harder, invest more, and fight for your attention. Not because you manipulated them, but because the chase itself is exhilarating. Now let's be clear. Ignoring a woman isn't about cruelty, manipulation, or childish games. It's about self-control. It's about valuing your time and energy. When you ignore from a place of insecurity, hoping to trick her into chasing, it won't work. She'll feel the weakness underneath. But when you ignore from a place of strength, because you have a mission, a purpose, a life beyond her, that's when the psychology kicks in. So remember this: a woman can't respect a man she controls. She can't desire a man who is always available, but she will crave the man who is grounded, disciplined, and unwilling to hand out his attention cheaply. Be that man, and watch how quickly she starts chasing you.